at the Let's Rock Shops Woo Woo Festival at the Taylors Falls Memorial Community Center, located at 312 Government Street in Taylors Falls. Explore tarot, oracle, psychic, and mediumship readings. Listen to inspiring speakers covering fascinating metaphysical topics. Soak in the calm tones of live hand pan music. Shop handcrafted goods, crystals, metaphysical tools, books, and more. It's just $5 cash at the door as a free will offering. And remember, Taylors Falls is a destination. Come out for the festival and stay to explore the natural beauty, historic charm, and energy of this incredible town. And yes, there will be walking tacos.
The Let's Rock Shops Woo Festival, Saturday, August 23rd, from 10 to 6 at 312 Government Street, Taylors Falls Memorial Community Center. Just $5 at the door. Come for the woo, stay for the wonder, and the walking tacos.
Are you one of thousands of individuals who know you have psychic abilities but don't know how to tap into your higher self? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who offers classes that can help you reach your goals. Refined Divine holds classes Monday and Thursday at her 2 locations and via Zoom. Classes consist of manifestation, learning psychic abilities, shadow work, and healing trauma. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
This is Psychic Medium Deb. You can go to refinedivinepsychic.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, increasing clouds with a low of 67. Then Wednesday, clearing skies with a high of 78. Maverick's Real Roast Beef is an East Metro treasure with the best roast beef sandwiches in the Twin Cities and so many other delicious offerings you won't want to miss. Maverick's is in Roseville on Lexington Avenue, 1 mile south of Highway 36. Visit their website at mavericksbeef.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us on this Tuesday evening. I just hope that everyone is safe from the storms that came through last night. We obviously, if you tuned in last night, we pretty much devoted the entire program to what was coming through. And, even coming into the station today over in Eden Prairie, I saw a lot of, not trees down, but a lot of branches and stuff on the roads and stuff. And, I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't quite look at any news reports today or anything to see what the aftermath were of the storms, but we had some pretty severe stuff come through last night. So I'm just hoping that everybody was safe and that you got your property safe and that you're safe. So just we have a break coming up. We're not going to be nearly as warm tomorrow, or at least through the end of the week. It looks like we're just going to be in the 70s. So that alone is going to be a nice little break for us as well. If we can't be in super hot weather, why don't we transport ourselves to probably one of the hottest places I've ever been, and that is down in Arizona. Tombstone, Arizona, as it happens. I remember being out there and I just thought to myself, I'm melting. That's really what it kind of came down to, is just like, I actually feel like I am melting here. And it's one of the best trips of my life. And tonight I'm going to be talking with a good friend of mine about one of the locations out there. We could talk about a ton of different locations, but we're gonna kind of focus on one tonight. We've had him on so many times, and every single time is a treat because he has such amazing information. He's a psychic medium. He's an author. There's so many books that we've talked about, and even though we've talked about this one a little bit before, I want to kind of revisit it. Ghosts of the Birdcage Theater on a Medium's Vacation. Rob Gutro has been on a number of times, and every time that we talk, it's just so much fun. And very rarely, actually, have I think we've been to the same location, because we're just very different parts of the country here. So I just want to welcome Rob to the program tonight. Rob, how are you doing?
Doing okay. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
It's always good to have you on, and it's for those who don't know, because I know everyone knows Tombstone. I think I actually had a Tombstone pizza last night. That has anything to do with Arizona. But just so we know, we're talking about the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone. Now, for those who are interested, this theater opened in December of 1881. Okay. Yeah. What is really interesting, I think, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's interesting about the Birdcage Theater, but to me, I think the thing that is the most interesting is that the Birdcage Theater closed, I think, like 1891 or something like that, and it sat pretty much dormant until everywhere I read, between 1929 and 1934. Mm-hmm. And what this was, Rob, it was a time capsule, wasn't it, as in terms of this theater, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know it was used for a coffee house and a tea room or something in the 20s. It was right after the guy William Breckinridge, who was the deputy to Sheriff Behan, wrote about Tombstone, and that brought the town back into the public light.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. I mean, and I've read that so many people look at the Birdcage as a true about as close as you can get to seeing how the Wild West was, because it had been untouched for so many years. Like everything, once they opened this place back up, all the stuff that was there in 1882 was still there in 1934 or whatever year it was. And only thing different is that it was covered in a lot of dust. The longest recorded poker game was at the Birdcage Theater as well. I mean, it's just a lot. I mean, it's such an amazing location. And I don't know about you, Rob, but the thing that struck me the most about this place is that it looks different on the inside than what I expected it to look like, from basing it on what it looks like from the outside, if that makes any sense.
So what did you expect it to look like before you went in there? Do you remember?
So the thing that I find very fascinating is, when in my mind, and I can't tell structures very well, but it doesn't look like that if you went into it, that if you actually go inside, you go in and basically have a lobby area, right? And then you go into where the stages and the games are, but then you have that row going across the top that looks like box seats, but in fact that's where the brothels were, right?
Yeah.
And that's the bit that it kind of is like, it doesn't look like it would be so big to house all that when you get inside, with that second level and stuff. That was what I found very interesting.
Yeah, that's true. It is very deceptive.
Yeah, it really is. But it's so just wonderful. And I had so many interesting memories there, Rob. One of them being, I went there with an ex-girlfriend who was a psychic medium, and we had this really interesting exchange. We went out because we went in to get our tickets because we were doing an investigation and a tour that night. Because I think you had a private investigation, didn't you?
No, actually, I took the ghost tour.
Okay, good. Because you're kind of a big deal, so I would have thought that if anyone's going to have a private investigation, it's going to be Rob Gutro, not Greg frickin' Bakun over here, who is just plebbing it out with everyone else.
I'm just an average guy.
we went outside, and we're in the middle of the street, and like I said, we're melting, right? And some guy comes up to us and has a crisis of faith in the street, and he wants to talk to us. He wants to talk to her and I about it, because he says, I feel like you two are different. Isn't that something? Isn't it? And that's the second time. That's the first of 2 times that happened on the trip. The other is over at the Copper Queen down in Bisbee, Arizona. Just a couple days later. It was, I don't know what we were like. We're wearing cologne or something. I don't know. That's like, talk to us cologne or something like that. But and what I found very interesting is the cover of your book, Ghost of the Birdcage Theater on a Medium's Vacation. This has to be an older photo because there's cars on the street, and they don't allow cars on that main street anymore, do they? In Tombstone?
I'm not sure. I haven't been there now since about 4 or 5 years ago, so they may not.
No, I don't. Well, either have I, to be honest. But yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, the cover of the book is a photo that I took in 1993 when I first visited.
That makes sense.
And I went and I dressed up as Wyatt Earp and I posed outside the Birdcage Theater.
What did you feel the first time that you went into the Birdcage Theater? Like what sort of emotion?
Actually, it was weird because it was a feeling of familiarity. I had never been to Arizona before, never been to Tombstone, but I walked in there and it felt eerily familiar. And
Yeah.
I actually had a past life experience when I first walked into the town, so that was kind of a clue.
Wow, that is. And there's something about that. And I want to agree with you on that. Not that I had what your experience, but walking in there just didn't feel like it didn't feel foreign. You know what I mean? It just it felt all right. And all the places that we went to was just, I mean, and by no means am I saying that I had like a past life experience or anything, but it certainly didn't feel like I was in an uncharted territory for myself, if that makes sense.
So you could have lived at that time, and usually when what I tell people about spirit is that when we come back in this life, we are somehow connected to people that we knew then.
Yeah.
So I know that I lived back then in the 1880s, so it's very possible that I knew you in the 1880s.
Isn't that something? Isn't that weird? I mean, not weird, but it's. I had thought about that when you said that. It's like, what if we knew each other at that point or somewhere else? I mean, it's very possible because and when you look at the show, like this show in particular, we keep having you back. I keep bringing you back on, and I mean, we've exchanged. Emails back and forth over time or whatever else. I mean,
and pet stories and all kinds of things. Yeah,
absolutely. And that we have very similar, love in those areas and stuff as well. It's just just an incredible thing. And one of the things that I will never forget at the Birdcage was when we did the ghost tour there, and we didn't have a huge amount of people in ours. We might have had like, I don't know, maybe 6 people total. Mm-hmm. And we're in there, and the tour guide, she's wearing a period dress, and the dresses have a big bow on the back of them.
Yeah.
And she's talking away, doing her job. And she turns around talking about showing something else. And her bow starts to untie itself. Like you could see, like one string is getting pulled down, and it's loosening everything else, and it just kind of opens up. It's not. It doesn't like open up to show anything. It just makes the dress bigger because you're using that to kind of tighten the dress on you. And she just stops and she looks around. She goes, "Did anyone see that?" And I'm like, yeah, we did, and that's pretty cool. And then and that was on the main level where the games are right in front of the stage. And and I heard people talking. Like when she was talking, other people were talking, and I raised my hand, and I'm just like, can like noises and people talking on the street, can that get in here easily? Does that like get into the the theater? And she goes, no. And I said, we got people talking in here. We have people like you. We can hear disembodied voices in here. And she's just like, oh, wow. And of course, when everyone stops, you don't hear a whole lot. But, they were there. And it's the thing. It's like right away, it's like, okay, this is pretty cool. I mean, what about you? I mean, it just seems like that this is an incredible place for some really incredible activity.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I took the ghost tour in 2019 with my friend Dan, who was not a believer in the paranormal,
sure,
until after the ghost tour, he was a believer because he saw 2 ghosts with his own eyes. But when we were in there, we were sitting in the back of the stage, back behind the curtain.
Yep.
They brought the ghost tour, and they at one time they had seats and tables there where you could sit and try to ask questions for any ghosts that were there.
Yeah.
And Dan and I both distinctly heard men talking in front of the stage on the other side of the curtain, like they were gambling or waiting for a show to come on. So we actually heard that as well. That's pretty cool.
That is really cool. And, because we had a very similar thing with the stage. And the thing is like at least when we were doing it, we're on stage, there's lights on the stage, but they don't have anything in the house on. So basically you're just looking into darkness, and you might hear a couple things and you're kind of like, I wonder what's going on out there.
Yeah.
It's such a great place. It really is. I love it.
And they have some amazing pieces too. Like I think they have a barber's chair where Curly Bill Brocious was getting his hair cut.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the, for those listeners who don't know who he is, he was one of the leaders of the cowboy gang, the nefarious cowboy gang, who was all about lawlessness and stagecoach robberies and all that stuff. Not a good guy.
No.
But they have that in there, as well as like faro tables, gaming tables that Doc Holliday used to play at. So
great. And I have to laugh. I'm not going to say who it was at the station because I don't want to, because it's an easy mistake to make. But he's like, isn't this where Wild Bill Hickok was killed? And I said, nope, that's Deadwood. And he was killed in 7 different locations in Deadwood. And the reason why I say that is because you go to about 5 different bars on the main strip of Deadwood, and each one claims that Wild Bill Hickok died in their bar. he's been shot up at like 7 different places and on the streets of Deadwood, and everyone's claiming this is where he dies. And there's one there's one of the bars in Deadwood that has a curtain that leads down to the bar because that's the real place where he died, apparently. Who knows? And so you have to pay money if you want to go down, past the curtain to see where he was shot. Of course I did it. Of course I'm like, there's my money. Yeah, absolutely. What can you do? That's $75 down the drain. No, it wasn't that much. But
did you sense anything down there?
Yeah, since I was out like $20. That's what I sense. I have a pretty good sense of that sort of thing.
Oh gosh. Wow.
Actually, no, I didn't. And that's the problem. You sometimes go with like a bunch of mediums, like you all hang out and stuff, and all of them are sensing stuff all over the place. And it's like, I'll just let you all do that. Because it's just like it seems like an overload anyway. I don't know, but it was cool. It was really cool. Rob, why don't we go ahead and do this? I want to take a break here. When we come back, let's continue this conversation about the Birdcage Theater, whatever else is on your mind. If people have questions about this place, put it in the comments for Rob as well. And we'll continue this. You are listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
What if one day could open your heart, spark your spirit, and connect you to your most authentic self? That day is Saturday, August 23rd from 10 to 6 at the Litz Rock Shops Woo Woo Festival at the Taylors Falls Memorial Community Center, located at 312 Government Street in Taylors Falls. Explore tarot, oracle, psychic, and mediumship readings. Listen to inspiring speakers covering fascinating metaphysical topics. Soak in the calm tones of live hand pan music. Shop handcrafted goods, crystals, metaphysical tools, books, and more. It's just $5 cash at the door as a free will offering. And remember, Taylors Falls is a destination. Come out for the festival and stay to explore the natural beauty, historic charm, and energy of this incredible town. And yes, there will be walking tacos.
The Let's Rock Shops Woo Woo Festival, Saturday, August 23rd from 10 to 6 at 312 Government Street, Taylors Falls Memorial Community Center. Just $5 at the door. Come for the woo, stay for the wonder, and the walking tacos.
Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. That's right. We are in Mercury retrograde. So that means that everything that I'm doing tonight is a complete and utter disaster, but that's okay as well. Thank you for joining us tonight on GhostBox Radio. It's just, some people might be like, well, maybe you're not very good at what you do, and that's why you're blaming all the technology. Nope. Not tonight. Not tonight at all. We have with us tonight psychic medium and author of a lot of books. Tonight we're talking about Ghosts of the Birdcage Theater on a Medium Vacation, written by Rob Gutro. And Rob, how many books have you written so far?
So I've published 12, but I'm just finishing my 13th and 14th. So I've got one coming out in October about the ghosts who haunt Linville Manor, which is a place where people can stay. And then Ghosts of a Haunted Former Library in New Hampshire.
Oh, wow.
That's coming out in January. So we'll have a little more to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to have you back on then. I mean, that's a no-brainer here. Talking about the Birdcage Theater, I want to talk about a couple of known people that I've experienced from their coming through. Rob, I want to ask you, have you had any interactions with any spirits that are like that we would know that had been part of the Birdcage?
Yeah, so one of them would be Dollar. She was a lady of the evening. She is not in the book though, because although I met 11 different ghosts when I was there, When I went back in, I think it was 2022 to do the book signing, that's when I ran into her. And I ran into a couple of others too that are not in the book.
Did you run into Big Minnie by chance?
I don't think so.
So for those who don't know, Big Minnie and her husband Joe, also John, I don't quite remember. I think it was actually Joe that came through first at the birdcage for my ex-girlfriend, because she wasn't channeling, she was seeing who had come through, and he came through, and then Minnie came through as well.
Oh, wow.
What ended up happening was, jump forward, I don't know how long, maybe a few months later, because I used to do these spirit box sessions for my home every Sunday, and I got I don't know, I just felt like I need to ask. I asked, Big Minnie is here, and she came through the box multiple times, and she stayed. Like, I don't say she stayed with me, but when I would call to her, I would get her on the box multiple times in multiple locations. And the thing is that one of the last times I actually tried to reach out to her, I just thought, you know what, I'm sure she didn't come up with the name Big Minnie. You know what I mean? She wasn't like, I'm big, you can call me Big Minnie. So I said to her, I'm just curious, would you prefer just to be called, do you want to be called Big Minnie or just Minnie? And she, through the spirit box, she said Minnie. And I thought, you know what, that's perfectly fine, because, everyone, it's bad enough if it's a nickname you don't like, and I don't know if she liked it or not, but to have it, follow her literally through eternity, maybe that's not something she wants. So I felt really good about that. And we actually, I was in another state, not even Minnesota, not Arizona. I was in Iowa at Strawberry Point. And I brought her through there because we were looking at photos, and this guy we're at, he was in Tombstone. I said, I want to see if I can get Minnie over here. And sure enough, we got her. It was incredible. I made you speechless. I'm so happy. That's Big Minnie. Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. So, so how did she tell you her name?
She said, well, I asked, do you want to be called Big Minnie or Minnie? And she said Minnie.
But what did you use to get her name?
Well, I didn't use, first of all, because she has a different name, because she goes by Matilda. That's her birth name.
Okay.
But I didn't know that. But I originally, when I'd ask for her, I'd ask for Big Minnie. And then over time, I thought to myself, I don't think that's a very appropriate way to address her.
Right.
And that's why I asked her the question, because I'm like, my guess is you don't want to be called that, and I'd much rather call you by what you want to be called than kind of push forward this sort of like what history has called you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like Doc Holliday's girlfriend. They used to call her Big Nosed Kate.
Right.
So, and I'm sure she doesn't want to be known as Big Nosed Kate.
Or have a bar named after her, right?
Right, and there is one.
There is one. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I should know that. I didn't know that. That makes sense. That's they name them after these people. And you get to the point, that it's so much time has passed that you forget that they're not characters. They're real people. They're historic people, and not just like, in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, this bar is named after a character. No, Kate is not a character. She's a historical figure, and then we keep giving these people horrible nicknames as well. So, God.
Yeah. And speaking of horrible stuff, one of the things that struck me that was interesting about the Birdcage Theater was that I learned that 26 people were killed in the theater, and that there are over 140 bullet holes that are in the theater, and you can see them when you walk through there.
Yep.
They're in the walls, they're in the ceiling, they're all over the place. So that would be something to look for whenever people visit.
Absolutely. And if your tour was like mine, we spent a fair amount of time out in that first area, like waiting to get in and whatnot. And there's just so much to see in that area alone, let alone the entire theater. What would you say was the most accurate? Let's try this again. What would you say is the most the most active area of the theater for you?
Gosh, the most active area. Well, I met ghosts all over the place. Downstairs, there were several. Down in the basement, that's where the gambling was.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of them. One was one of them that showed up was a miner, an old miner, and he was in one of those cribs with the ladies of the evening. And actually, so the guy that I was with was taking pictures in there, and he took a picture of the mirror, and you could see clearly the face of a miner in the mirror. So apparently he died there.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's actually in the book. You can see the face. And I happen to go online and look for a picture of an old miner, and I can hold it up here in the book. You can see the miner there.
Let me make it bigger for people to see.
Yep. Yeah, you can see the miner there, but his face is in the mirror there. So
look at that. I can see that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So he was pretty astounded. He goes, "What's with the guy's face in the mirror?" And I said, "That, my friend, is a ghost."
That is what we're here for. I love it. I mean, and for folks, for if you don't know what we're talking about here, once again, the book is called Ghosts of the Birdcage Theater on a Medium's Vacation. There is a Kindle version, there's a paperback version, an audiobook version, which I wasn't aware of. My goodness. Yeah. Look at you. And you can get it. Yeah, exactly. And you get it through Amazon. Also, I have it up on GhostBox Book Club page on ghostboxradio.com. It's an Amazon affiliated link. And for all the versions, and helping out Rob, you'd be helping out me as well. Plus, you'd get a pretty amazing book to read as well. And this is such a wonderful location. Rob, I was going to ask you a little bit off topic, but still Tombstone. And being a pet medium, but also an animal medium. I'm just curious, when you're out there, and it just kind of came to me today, do you ever get like horses from back in the day, like just feeling their energy or anything like that? Something like some animals that might have been around during that time?
I do. There was an investigation I did in Maryland in a mansion, and there was residual energy of horses drawing a carriage up and down this long driveway back in the late 1700s, early 1800s.
Wow, it's pretty cool. I mean, and with it being residual, you're not necessarily. I mean, it's not really communication. They're just kind of doing the same path that they've done when they're living. What about just anything else, like especially in the Tombstone area? Just because there's a lot of different types of animals and stuff out there, and I just thought to myself, I just really wondered if there was some sort of communication that was happening with any of them, or was it just mainly the cowboys and other folks from the day?
Well, it was mostly humans because animals are a lot smarter than people, and they cross over. Humans don't really do that, so everybody I ran into was human.
Do you think in Tombstone that there is like the tombstone of the 1880s still happening, basically overlaid over our existing tombstone. You know what I mean? Like so many of them haven't necessarily crossed, that they're still living the lives that they did all those years ago.
Yeah, they would be stuck kind of in that mind frame of the time that they were killed, murdered, or died. But they have seen, since, you know, when you're an Earthbound Ghost, you see people come in, like all the 11 ghosts I know I met at the birdcage. They have seen people come in over the years, and they see fashions change, and they see cell phones, and they're probably like, what is that they're talking? And so they know time has passed, but when you're an Earthbound Ghost, you don't really have a sense of time. You can only tell time is moving by looking at the way things change in the people that come in.
Right. They're not counting years.
Yeah.
But, you know, and you bring up an interesting point, and this is something that's been on my mind a lot lately due to certain investigations that I've been a part of and whatnot. Do you think spirits evolve? You know, like you talked about, they see cell phones, they see other things. Does it, you know, if they see it enough, do they start to understand in principle what some of this stuff is, do you think?
Yeah, I think they can probably figure it out. So, and that actually leads to an interesting story, because in 2022, when I went back for the book signing, there was one particular ghost that I ran into in the theater area, and I identified him as Jerome. That was his name. He was shot in the throat because he was cheating at cards, and he made me feel the pain of a bullet going through my throat. When I came back to do that book signing, I decided that I was going to take my cell phone and go in the different places throughout the theater and record little 30-second, you know, vignettes of, this is where I encountered this ghost, that's where I encountered another ghost. So the first ghost, of course, that I encountered when I went in there was Jerome. He made me feel the bullet through my throat again. And I said, okay, look, I know you are dead, and I know you have an attitude, but please let me go through and just leave me alone. I'm going to use this device. I held up my cell phone, and I said, I'm just going to talk into it. And I said, I'm not here to bother you. So I thought that would work. Well, Greg, it didn't, because I went through like 11 locations in the birdcage, and I spoke into it. I came back out. And then I did another outro video outside. So the intro video that I did outside in the beginning worked. The audio was fine. Outro video outside worked fine. All the videos I shot in the birdcage, high pitch squeal.
Yeah.
And that was Jerome. He did not want me to be in there.
And that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Because that is, when you're in there, that's when you were having those interactions with Jerome.
Yes.
And that's, even if you ask nicely, that they don't have to. They don't have to do any of that. They don't have to be nice. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? That, number one, he was very persistent with you, and secondly, because you weren't, that he wanted to ruin what you've tried to do?
Oh, well, I always say that if you're a jerk in life, you're going to be a jerk in death. And
yeah,
you know,
that's so true. So he was he was caught cheating. So
he was caught cheating, right? Yeah.
And that's probably the least of his offenses.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. Why don't we do this? I want to take our next break here. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation. If somebody has any questions, and I see a couple in the comments, we'll get to those when we get back. And anything else in your mind, put it out there for Rob to answer. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information.
Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo comes to the Alliant Energy Center August 9th and 10th. Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo is a celebration of comics, toys, TV, film, art, cosplay, games, and all things nerdy. It's also a family-friendly event where you can meet your favorite celebrities, browse the vendor hall, and artist alley for all the coolest merch, watch celebrity Q&As, and even more. Madison Comic and Pop Culture Expo, also known as MadX, is going to be huge, with guests like Walter Jones from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, legendary wrestler Sting, plus other great guests from voice actors, authors, and artists all over the entire weekend. 2 days of action-packed fun at the Alliant Energy Center. Tickets start at $53. Kids tickets are just $9.99 for the entire weekend. Don't wait to get your tickets. Buy your tickets and get more information at MadisonComicExpo.com. MadX is Wisconsin's biggest Comic-Con, and don't forget Twin Cities Con is coming up in November. New guests are being announced all the time. Go to TwinCitiesCon.com for more information.
And join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. It's going to be an interesting program tomorrow, as we're going to have on Chris Gugliotti. We're going to be talking about Explorer's Guide to Monstrous Cryptid Creatures. It's a book that he is working on. We're going to talk about all the details of that tomorrow. And then Thursday, Anthony Sanchez, UFO Nexus, A Journey into Alien Realms and Cosmic Secrets. And then Friday, of course, is Casual Friday. And I think we're going to be talking about something light, like super volcanoes under Yellowstone National Park. So it's going to be a fun, light evening of doom. So tonight we have wonderful psychic medium, author Rob Gutro. We're talking about his book tonight, Ghosts of the Birdcage Theater on a Medium's Vacation. Rob, I seem to recall there is a robgutro.com, isn't there?
There is. Yes.
All right, good.
That's where you'll find me.
that's where people need to go, and that's what it's all about. Now, Linda in the comments, Linda says, Rob, I'm reading the Kindle version of Birdcage. Do you have a favorite way to encourage ghosts to talk with you?
A favorite way. I actually I'm really kind of direct with them. I just ask them questions once I sense them, and I treat them with respect. I mean, you would treat anybody with respect that you meet face to face, and even though you can't see them, you need to be respectful of them. So, I usually ask them to tell me their story.
How much do you think of this comes from how spirits see you? You know, I always think that, you know, we're a beacon, right? Especially the ones who are pulling for spirit more. Is it more of how you talk to them or how they see you, or any medium by that standard?
Yeah, I think it's both. So I've always felt that that ghosts can read your energy just like you can read their energy. And just like when you meet people in a group, you are attracted to some people and you want to talk to them, say hi, and other people you just avoid. And I think that ghosts have that same connection with living people. They will talk to some and not to others. I've been on many paranormal investigations with other mediums together, and ghosts will talk to one of us and not the other.
That's very true. Now, getting back to the birdcage, are there any you packed this book full of stories? Is there anything in there or anything that happened out there that's not in the book?
Oh gosh, yeah. There's several things that happened that are not in the book, but one of the interesting parts of this is Tombstone is loaded with ghosts because there were so many murders during the 1880s. There were more murders, I understand, in Tombstone than there were in modern day Los Angeles, for instance. Yeah, which is crazy. So my friend Dan and I, when we left the Birdcage Theater Ghost Tour, it was around 11:30, and Tombstone is very small. A lot of things were closed up. The only thing was open was a variety store. We got around the block to his pickup truck, and the brand new battery was dead.
Oh.
And he thought, he said to me, how in the world can this battery be dead? I just bought it recently. So I explained to him that ghosts are energy. They absorb energy. That's why batteries, when paranormal investigators bring them into places, they get drained. And as we were walking to the car, the truck, a ghost actually walked right through me, and I felt a chill. He took all my body heat.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So we were stuck. It was 11:30. I called AAA. They said it's going to take 3 hours because we have to come from Tucson. Yeah. So we ran over to the variety store that was closing at midnight, and they said, go to the police station. Maybe they can jump your battery. We did that. And it's kind of funny, Greg. They locked the doors at the police station. So we pounded on the door, and the guy that opened the door was like 6'4" police officer. He scared the hell out of me. And so we told him what happened, and he said, "Oh yeah, I can jump your battery." And he said, "You can drive 40 minutes away to a Walmart and see if they have one." So I said, "Should we come with you?" And he said, "No, you walk to your car. I'll drive over there." I'm like, okay, all right. But he jumped the battery. We got to the Walmart. Fortunately, they had one battery left that would fit that truck, and we were able to be on our way. But those darn ghosts, they just drained our battery.
When he walks through you, do you see it, or is it more just from the energy exchange that happened?
So it was. So I could see him briefly as a shadow because I was walking. So there's a plank boardwalk in front of all the businesses. And it was dark. Of course, it was 11. It was like 11:20, and it was pitch black except for the street lights. And I could see somebody coming toward me, and then suddenly he went right through me, and I felt ice cold. And it was, of course, 98 degrees outside, even at 11:30. And my friend Dan looked at me and he said, "What's wrong with you? You're stumbling." And I told him what happened. And I said, "Yeah, some guy just came out of a saloon, dead, and walked right through me."
I recall that was something that surprised me also about Tombstone when I was out there, of how early everything kind of shut down out in Tombstone.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I would have expected anything else. Tracy, who's in the comments here, who actually is out in that area, out in Tombstone, she says, or out in that area, the spirits in Tombstone love to mess with humans all the time. And to your point about Jerome, probably because they're probably jerks in real life. No offense to them, but it's like you have to be if you're going to try to survive back in the day in the 1800s and Tombstone. You kind of had to have a chip on your shoulder for sure.
Yeah, you had to make people fear you so they would leave you alone, I think.
Yeah. Now, you sketch stuff, right?
I do. So whenever I see ghosts, I tend to sketch them, and I put those in my books.
What you got for us?
So you mentioned a lady of the evening. So
Sure
in
did.
one of my chapters, I met a lady of the evening in the lobby. Now, when you go in the lobby, there is a second floor. There's a stairway on the side that goes up, and then you can see like a run on the top. So I'm gonna hold up a picture of the sketch that I did of the woman who never gave me. She never gave me her name.
Oh, interesting, huh?
Yeah, but that's what she looked like, and she has some kind of a feather thing in her hair.
What was she? Because at least in the sketch that you have there, her arm is out. Was she beckoning, or just kind of like her arm against like something, holding herself up, or was there anything interesting with that?
It faded when she held her arm out, so I didn't know what she was doing. I only saw her for an instant, and that's what I recall.
Let's see here. Joshua says Tombstone doesn't seem like a pleasant place. It is now.
It is now. Yeah.
It is now. Back then, though, that was a completely different story when they're all going after the silver and stuff. But and that's, I mean, if that didn't happen, we wouldn't have the Tombstone that we have. I mean, it's unfortunate so many people died, and it was so rough, but that's what created the Tombstone that we're talking about today.
Yeah. So in 1879, I remember reading that 1877, Ed Shefflin went out there, and he was a prospector, and he wanted to look for silver, and they told him at Fort Hirakawa that the only thing that he would find would be his tombstone. So when he struck silver, he called his first strike Tombstone, and that's how the town got its name.
That's right. I do remember that. Isn't that cool? And we haven't even talked about. I also investigated out there, not beyond the bird cage, over at the place that China Mary lived. I have China Mary on my spirit box. I have her voice. I have, because she was all about money. She was a very keen businesswoman, very, very smart. And she, with the person that was living, he's not there anymore, but he had a store in her house when we were out there. And he had talked about that. He feels like that she keeps kind of bothering him. And I said, well, that's because it just kind of came to my head. You're not paying her rent, and you got to give her something. You have to give her something every month. And we put on the spirit box and asked, did you want so-and-so to pay you rent? And you just get this big yes. And he's like, okay, I will put something out for you every month. And it was like, yeah, I mean, she's a businesswoman. You just can't go and set up a store in her house. No. She's watching you. She's watching you. So what a great place. What a truly wonderful place. And for those who love history and love paranormal, I think Tombstone is a fantastic location to go and check out for sure. Yeah. Are you going back anytime soon, do you think?
I not in the near future, but I did befriend the guy that owns and manages it, Billy Hunley and his wife Amy, and
Nice.
And they're very good friends of mine. I've known them since 1993. So I'd love to go back. Just
so you know, the last time we talked about this was, I think, 2022 or something like this. Mm-hmm. We talked about this. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, at the time, I think we both said, if we go out there, we should go out there together. Yeah. And that hasn't happened. Neither of us have made any strides towards that. So, I do still think I would love to do that at some point, and going over to Tombstone would be really, really incredible. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to do an investigation with you. I've been doing investigations up here in the Northeast. Just did one on a farm, actually.
Oh, nice.
And, and going up to Wilson Castle in Vermont this coming Saturday, which is reputed to be pretty haunted.
Anytime you put the word castle involved, I mean, that's, to me, you're right. I think you're absolutely right about that. No, I mean, that's great. Now, once again, as we're starting to wrap up here, we have about a minute or so left. When's your next book coming out? You're working on 13 and 14 right now.
Mm-hmm.
January, did you say?
October is going to be the first one. It's going to be called Ghosts of Linville Manor.
Okay.
Maryland's most haunted inn, and then January, Ghosts of the Haunting of Hunt Memorial Library in New Hampshire, that I did with my co-author Monique Toussoon on the Emory Estate.
And I need to get Monique on here. I've been promising for a while to get her back on, and then I've just been thinking lately I need to reach out to Monique and get that figured out. It was great when I had both of you on. Once again, the book that we're talking about tonight, and a lot of experiences, Ghosts of the Birdcage Theater on a Medium's Vacation. It's available on Amazon. If you're so kind, please go over to ghostboxradio.com. Ghostbox Book Club is an affiliated link. It would really make me feel nice if some folks get something from there. Otherwise, go to robgutro.com and stalk and follow him, because he's worth it. Rob, thank you so much. What a fun conversation.
Thank you, Greg. You really made my day. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow we're going to be talking cryptids and monsters, all that good stuff. Everyone, have a good night.